It's the most wonderful time of the year.
What's up, weirdos? Welcome back to my channel, and today we're going to be talking about The Haunting of Hill House. Yes, it has rave reviews, and guess what? It's about to get another.
We're not like any other family. We're different because of where we grew up. Hill House.
Your mother, she was not crazy. Neither was your sister, neither is your brother, neither are you. It's that house.
I think my favorite thing about the show is how they worked with time. So they had basically half of the show was set when the family moved into the house when all the children were pretty young and they were going to renovate it and flip it. And then half the show was when they're all older adults and they all don't live in the house, but they are still affected by the house. And so that's sort of what the show is switching back and forth between throughout each episode. My favorite thing they would do is that you would see certain scenes multiple times throughout the series, but every time you saw it, something else was revealed, or like your perspective as an audience member on the scene had changed. And it felt like the house was like playing a trick on me as well as the family. It was just so well done and so mind twisty, and I loved it. The second thing I loved is that it was actually scary. I thought it was scary. A lot of the ghost stuff was really spooky, and then there was actually one moment. So when I watch horror movies alone, I'm not with friends or anything, like I'm pretty silent. I'm like, yeah, maybe I'm like really scared, maybe I'm covering my eyes, but like I'm not really like making any vocal noises. And I made like a guttural scream at one point. Like literally something happened and I could not control my voice. It was crazy. And so I'll talk about that in the spoilers. And then the acting was like phenomenal. Like every single actor, from small children to the old people, like everyone like killed it. Also, it took me like at least like 2 episodes to realize that Olivia, the mom, it was the mom in Spy Kids. And as soon as I figured that out, I was like, I'm having a great time. Like I love her. She's so beautiful. And then I also just really fell in love with these characters, even though all of them are so flawed, right? Like all of them do some pretty terrible things, and yet you care about them. And it sort of mirrors the relationship of the family itself, where it's like you love your family even when you can't stand them. That's sort of how I felt about these characters, and how the characters, I think, feel about each other. I think they did a really good job making me feel on the side of the characters even when they were doing some bad stuff. And now let's get to some ratings. As a reminder, these are all out of 5. Sometimes I forget to say that, and then I'm like, oh no, do people think I hate this movie? They're out of 5, not 10, so let's get into it. For the scare, I'm giving it a 4. Like I said, I yelled out loud, and overall was like, I thought it was pretty freaking scary. Like, especially a lot of the ghost stuff, I was like, that is like good. Also, there's like one other thing I'll mention, but I'll mention it in the spoilers, but it really freaked me out. The gore, it gets it too. Not that much gore, honestly. It didn't really need it. Like, all of the ghosts were really scary, and some of them were pretty graphic, but in terms of like bloods and guts, not that much. Cheese, 0. No cheese needed for this one. It was perfect just the way it was. And my overall rating, 5 out of 5. I loved it. I really loved this show. I'm gonna watch it again, probably November. I was just amazed by what they were able to accomplish in those 10 episodes. It felt like a full life that you had watched, and it was just so good. Now let's get to some spoilers. So, quick little thing. So the part that really freaked me out is like a small thing, but the part where the little girl pulls the cat out of its coffin because this little kitten had died. All the kittens died. She pulls out the kitten, and then she thinks it's about to breathe because there's like something moving, and she's like, oh my god, the cat's alive, the cat's alive. And then this like big bug just like crawls out of the kitten's mouth, and it's like, oh my god, it was so gross. It was so gross. And I was like, wow, that'll traumatize a kid. And it did. My favorite like overall big device of the thing was the big red door room. I just thought it was so smart, and the fact that the room was like the stomach, or described as the stomach of the house, and so it lured each of the family members in with something different, being a tree house or a reading room or whatever it was for each person, and sort of luring them in there and making them feel safe and all these things so it could sort of like take them. And it was so effective. And then like how you figured out that the room doesn't really exist, like blew my mind, blew my mind. Okay, and then for the scene that made me scream, I'll just go ahead and tell you. So it's like the second to last episode, or maybe the last episode, where Theodora and Shirley are driving to save Luke, and they're fighting in the car, and they're fighting, and the tension is building, and the fight is building, and they're snapping, and all of a sudden, Nellie, their dead sister, just like pops between them from the back seat, and just like screams, and I literally was like, ah! Like, it was so scary. That was like, I have not had a jump scare do that to me in so long, because I watch horror all the time, so it's like eventually things are gonna stop making me freak out. Man, it really, I was so invested in like the emotional nature of this sister fight that it just totally threw me off. It was really good. I've never actually reviewed a horror show on my channel. It's always been movies. And so I'm like, I'm not sure like how much to talk about. There's like so much I could talk about. But I just really want you guys to watch it. I don't want to give away too many spoilers. Overall, like, yeah, it's worth watching. It's worth the hype. Like, check it out. I think all of you guys are gonna love it. And if you don't, I would love to know why below. If you do, I'd love to know why. But yeah, thanks again for watching. This is still my 31 days of Halloween. I would just have a week left or something, which is crazy. Oh my god. But let's finish this out strong. Let's finish it strong. Let's do it. But I'll see you guys tomorrow. Have a nice scream. Bye.